Hello, this is a video on how to be less nice. So my name is Mark Walsh, and I'm regarded as not very nice. Actually, I did a psychological test, and I'm under the less than 1%, the less than 1 percentile, I think it's called, on something called agreeableness, which is the psychological trait that psychologists measure that we would call nice. This doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I don't spend my days torturing kittens or anything like that. What it means, though, is I'm able to disagree with people. I'm able to ask for what I want. I'm able to stand up to people who try and mess me around. We've done several courses now on this subject, particularly with my friend Erica, and I thought I'd do a video on this subject. So this is a video for everyone out there who is too nice if you need to be a bit more of an asshole. Let me just sort of set the general frame here. So we have characterological dispositions. I'm kind of one end of the spectrum, okay? And then there's literally less than 1% of people like me. And then the other end of the spectrum is the sort of super nice people. You're probably in some kind of helping profession. You're probably, looking after people for a living in some way, or your friends rely upon you. You're probably a great listener. You're probably good at doing favors for people. Lots and lots of really positive things, obviously. We have patterns. Some of them are characterological. Some of them are cultural. You know, the difference between, say, I don't know, Israel and Russia, I don't know, somewhere a bit more Bali, somewhere a bit more, we could say yin as opposed to yang, yeah? So personal dispositions, cultural dispositions, life circumstances, we find some way of adapting to the world. You have to do something, right? You have to find somewhere. Over here, it's like, I'm badass. Over here, it's, I'm nice. Yeah, over here it's fear me, over here it's love me. So we have this kind of basic spectrum. And a lot of people are in the middle. They might never have issues or need a workshop. So we started doing workshops with people over this side. Erica and my friend Vididasa, they're like recovering nice people, people who have learned boundaries, who have learned to ask for what they want, who have learned to stick up for themselves. There's more we could say, but there's some for now. So this is a learnable skill. And the other thing is it's embodied. So what do I mean by that? That I mean, it's not character, which is this mixture of trait, disposition, training, culture, whatever. It's not just something you can change cognitively. You could read a book and it's like, you should set boundaries. You should ask for what you want. You should not let people push you around. And you'd nod and say, yes, that's all very good. And then you go back to doing exactly what you did before. Right? So we need some kind of an embodied practice, like the embodied yoga or other things that we work with in order to shift our way of being. So I'm focusing on the people who are too nice, need to move a bit into the middle, or at least to have the option, the range, we could say, and rather than this side. So we'll do another video for people who are like me, who are assholes and need to learn to listen better and be more considerate, all that shit. Okay, so this side now. First thing to say is this is about behavioral flexibility. So it's not about changing someone's personality. People are just dispositionally this way. Like Erica, Vididasa, my colleagues, they're always going to be like that, yeah? And I've seen in both of their cases, as they've learned things over the years, embodied practice with me and others, they've learned to at least come here sometimes, at least be able to say, hey, that's not okay, yeah? It's really important for anyone in this area to frame this as having more freedom and more options. That's the first reframe. Not you have to change your entire personality, yeah? Another key thing here is that nice doesn't mean good. People on this end are no better people than people at this end. This is a confusion. There's a fundamental reframe needed that saying no, over this side, is nasty, whereas saying yes is nice. This is more ethical, less ethical. No, not the case. Actually, quite the opposite. It's to not say no can be very cruel and very selfish. To not be able to set those boundaries. I'll just stay with that one example. Why? Because if I say yes to someone I don't really mean it, it's inauthentic. You're lying. You're full of shit. Yeah, not very nice. Equally, you could say yes and then be totally overwhelmed. Not nice to yourself, right? So there's no real self-kindness there. Yeah, this is this idea of putting others first. Yeah, you might say, well, it's self-sacrificing, so that's still noble. Okay, what about where you're saying yes and then you can't deliver to everyone? You can't deliver on what you said. You can't follow through because of exhaustion, overwhelm, just dropping balls, right? You've all been around someone that's like, okay, yes, yes, yes. And then sooner or later, they just drop things as opposed to someone that can say, no, I won't do that, but I can deliver on this. So seeing no itself as an act of kindness. Self-kindness, Dalai Lama says, if your kindness does not include yourself, it is incomplete. But also kindness to others, that we're being more honest, not being full of shit about what we do and don't want, and being able to assert those boundaries. As good boundaries are good for other people too, in terms of trust, in terms of the relationship, and in terms of just delivery of whatever you said you would do. Same for asking for what you want. Not only is that not selfish to ask for what you want, we're assuming other people can say no, right? So it only kind of works if we're not treating people like, it's kind of not asking for what you want, it's kind of patronizing to other people. It's saying like, somehow it's so powerful that I ask for what I want that it's going to overwhelm you, and you can't say no. It's like, come on, stop treating people like kids. So ask for what you want, again, kind to yourself. This is how you get your needs met. But also you give people the gift of being able to help you. That's a gift because you like helping people if you're nice, right? It's absolutely true. If my wife says, hey, can you do this for me? It would really help me out. I'd absolutely love it. Of course we do that. Think of how we do that in bed, right? That's a very natural thing. We want to give people the gift of being able to do something pleasurable for us. So asking for what you want is a gift. That's the other reframe I would say here. So we can think of yin and yang, and one has the heart of the other, and both exist in this movement. This is where, rather than just as a polarity, it's not a linear kind of oppositional sense. Okay, so there's some of the key skills, some of the framing, the fact that it isn't nice to be nice. Actually, it's selfish, it's dishonest, and it's actually a really arsehole move. And actually being able to learn to be kind, real true kindness, true compassion, includes those boundaries, right? It's like, let's give you an example. Let's say I invited someone out on a date. If they totally weren't interested in me, it's much kinder for them to say, I'm totally not interested in you and never will be. Actually, I'm a lesbian, Mark, than for me to think I'm in with a chance, spend loads of time and energy and waste that, then eventually maybe piss that person off, maybe overstep boundaries. Oh my God, boundaries I didn't know exist. That's the other thing that happens with the nice people. They do set boundaries, but in their own head. So it's like, well, you should have known, you should have been psychic. It's like, no, that's really cruel to expect that. Much clearer to say, actually, I'm not interested in this case. So seeing boundaries, asking for what you want, seeing how to be assertive rather than aggressive is important, and as itself an act of love. It's key insight here. I've sort of been saying this in different ways, but let me underline it. Key insight here. The main thing, being passive is not kind any more than being aggressive is not kind. So assertiveness is not only more powerful, but also more kind. Those two things aren't opposite ends of a spectrum. Okay, well, I hope that helps. I'm going to leave it to some of my colleagues to give some of the embodied practices. It is all about practicing like anything else. Well done if you're making this journey. Erica really is the expert here, and Vidyadhara, they can tell you what it's like to be recovering nice people. And it's important to have arseholes like me in your life to role model it, rather than looking at something I do and say, oh, I could never speak my mind as provocatively as Mark does. Instead, I get that all the time. It's like, yeah, you could. You fucking could. You need to practice. So that is the key thing. But well done for you for making a start, and I hope this has been useful.